Alright guys, so this is going to be crashing Anvil. So this one's going to actually be a 1-2 attack. So first thing that the attacker is going to throw is a right straight punch. So you come in, you're going to block with a right inward block, and then you might come in with another right straight punch with his left arm. So you're going to do an outward block over here. And as you do the outward block, you're going to turn into a hard bow, and you're going to do a power chop to the clavicle. Right here, you're going to try and break the collarbone. And after this, you're going to grab the injured area. It's going to be really painful for the attacker. You're going to pull him in to a knee, just like we learned in Rising Knee. And we're going to come down, we're going to grab him, throw him, and as he's falling, we're going to take a right side fist, and we're going to try and hit the kidney as he comes down. And then after you do that, you're just going to do cat stance and horse stance. Cross it out. So let's go over that one more time. So the attacker throws a right straight punch, we block it, and then we're going to do a left punch, come in, break the clavicle with power chop, and come in knee, and you're going to throw him, and then hit him on the way down with the side fist. Out.
It was 3 hands of China, and this is 2 people coming at you, and we do find, if we look at crime statistics, that we're actually more apt or more likely to be attacked by more than one person if we ever do get attacked, and that is not very fun. It's pretty scary, but it's something we can certainly handle if we use the right ideas. So in 3 hands of China, 2 people are moving toward us, and then they walk away from each other slightly, so they're flanking us. They're coming in from 45-degree angle to the right, 45-degree angle to the left, moving into attack. We don't have an easy way to escape, so we do something unusual, but also very effective, and that is that we attack the attack. We hit before we get hit. And especially when you have a mass attack, more than one person, it's really critical that you have this mindset that you take the initiative and you hit and you stop the attacker. So what we do first, when the attacker comes to our left, we interpret this person as being a bigger threat, or maybe the alpha. He's the one who seems to be in charge of the attack. So we're going to take him out first in an aggressive manner. We're going to take our left foot, step toward the opponent into a horse stance to get lower, more stable, lessen our targets. And we're going to fire a back knuckle to his temple, which is his central control center. And also we're going to be hitting his body with the side fist, but these are hit at the same time. If you can, during self-defense, hit as many targets as you can in the shortest amount of time. So this is the concept of the beginning of 3 hands of China, going for the head and the body. At least one of those is going to get in and very likely to stop that opponent. When you're dealing with these type of attacks, it is good to go for as many strikes to vital targets as possible. Like kicking him in the groin could work, but it's a bit of a gamble. Going for the head, temple, much more likely to stop the fight. And you really need to get rid of this guy, because remember, you have at least 2 people coming in. So I'm stepping in 45 degrees, double strikes. The other attacker all of a sudden throws a punch at my head. I don't want to get hit. So as the punch comes at me, I'm kind of open. I move into a right cat. What the cat does is it gets me a little bit further away from the opponent and also puts me in a good defensive position. As I do the cat stance, I do an outward wrist parry. The outward wrist parry is going to cover any of my vital targets from my solar plexus to my head. It also allows me to get a little bit of a purchase on top of his arm, almost like I'm grabbing him. I'm not grabbing, but I'm using sticky hand technique, friction, to be able to pull back quickly, which will bring his head in. As his head comes in, I do one of the most effective things I can as a martial artist. I attack the eyes with a rigid claw. So the rigid claw is like a spear hand that we separate the fingers. So I'm doing that outward wrist parry and that rigid claw at the same time. And at the same time as I hit the head, I'll also fire a right snap kick to the groin. So I'm hitting, again, this premise of hitting 2 targets at the same time is very effective. Remember, whenever you hit the head, there's a tendency for the opponent's lower body to come towards you. Whenever you hit the lower body, there's a tendency for the upper body to come towards you. So you're really making this guy work against himself, which is very effective. So I've done that outward wrist parry. I'm pulling back with the sticky hand. I fire the rigid claw. I fire the snap kick. And then from there, I'll cover out away from the 2 of them, straight back towards 6 o'clock. So initially I attacked out toward 45. Second, I went toward this 45, and then I cover away in a straight line. It's almost like a big capital Y. You have the stem, and then where it forks out is the pattern of that technique. So we call it 3 hands of China. So there's 2 people coming in. We think of this guy as maybe the alpha, so we lock in on him, double shots, and then as the second guy throws the punch, we move back, parry, and then from the parry we'll fire the rigid claw and the snap kick, and then from there we'll come back right down the middle, and we can see both opponents, so if either one got up, we could deal with them. And that is called 3 hands of China. So we have rising knee, we have crashing anvil, 3 hands of China. The fourth one is called plucking the bird from the sky.
So this next one is called plucking the bird from the sky. And this is a cool technique because it's employing something we call outside fighting. Say with our rising knee, we go here, this is outside fighting as well. And say with our crashing anvil, this is considered inside fighting because we're inside the attacker's body. So we're here, and he can technically attack us with his arms, but there's also more targets available to us.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed in outside fighting, say we're here, there's not as many targets to hit, but he also can't hit us either.
I can't use my other weapons.
So
Yeah.
his left arm can't hit us, his right arm can't hit us. So it's really advantageous to be on the outside, and that's something that our system tries to encourage. If you ever get into a self-defense situation, try and get on the outside because it's more important that your attacker can't hit you than, say, the advantage of being able to have more targets to hit.
Yeah.
And like we can tell from this technique, we're going to do a left soft hand block like we did in rising knee. And we're immediately going to come into a right side fist to the temple right here. It's going to be very fast, so as the attacker throws a punch, we're already in here. So we're using his momentum against him. So as he's coming in, we're coming right in and hitting him in the temple.
Yeah.
And after this, we're going to step behind him right here because we're about to set up a throw. Before that, we're going to do double power chops to the ribs right here. That's going to bend him over like this. So we're going to grab his shoulders, and we're going to make sure we're going to straighten our right leg out. And we're going to grab him, we're going to throw him over our hip. And he's going to come down like this. He's going to land on his face. Then after this, we're going to do a front kick to the ribs. That's going to cause his head to come up. Then we're going to do a heel stomp to the base of the brain right here. And we're going to horse stance out.
Nice.
So that's a really fun technique, and it's trying to practice the first step where you basically you just transition through the horse stance. You just come in and into the reverse cat.
One motion.
It's really fast.
And then the last one, the fifth one, is called the sleeper. And this is a technique where we're going to apply a sleeper hold that'll knock someone unconscious. And again, that should be the end of the fight, but we will learn extra follow-up if you need it. Probably don't need it. Give Jared these so he can have the perspective of the bad guy. So in this case, again, it's a right straight punch. A lot of attackers are pretty stupid when they fight. They don't know what they're doing, and they're more apt or more likely, I think, to throw a roundhouse punch or a Western style punch. Somebody's throwing a straight shot at you probably knows what they're doing. They've got a little bit of fighting experience because that's a faster and more likely way to strike somebody. So in this instance, we may have somebody who's got a little bit of training and we want to take them out really fast. We're going to use the same premise we've been learning today so far of going, like Jared said, to the outside, which allows you to tie up all of his weapons and still affords you some good targets. We're going to use a very light block, a soft hand block, so we don't get hit. In this case, when the guy punches me, I'm going to step a little more radically in terms of the angle. I won't be going to 11 o'clock. I'm going to be going a little bit wider, about 10:30, about 45 degrees as I do the soft hand block. So he throws a right punch. I'm just going off to the outside. My right hand's going to swing up now from underneath his arm. I'm going to move into a right cat stance, which gets me out of his sight line where he can't see me. And I'm going to come up with the sword hand, this part of the hand here. I'm going to strike the jugular vein and carotid artery, the side of the neck. That's going to cut off almost half the plumbing, the amount of oxygenated blood going to the brain. And the brain needs so much blood to stay conscious that reduction would cause instant knockout. The guy will go unconscious, and that's just from impact on the side of the neck. It will not, very unlikely to kill your assailant, but it will knock him out. So that's done pretty fast. When he throws a punch, we'll go 1-2. We already hit him, right? We already struck him. This will be in a guard to protect you. What I'd like to do now, like Jared taught us in plucking the bird from the sky, I'd like to step behind the guy with my right foot toward 45 degrees. As I step behind him, my goal is to get my leg underneath his leg so I have a lower center of balance, because I want to be able to throw him. And I'm going to take this sword hand, I'm going to reach around with my left hand, I'm going to grab onto my own hand, and I'm going to pull in to trap Jared's body and neck between me and my hands. I don't want to do it to him, but I'm going to push in hard and further cut off the blood to his brain. The other part of this is I want to get pretty low because I want to get him off balance to be able to do a throw. So I'll just show you without Jared those first steps, and then we'll do it with Jared as a bad guy. So I'll step to the outside, I'll go Chinese guard, 45 degrees, soft hand block. I'll move into a right cat stance. I'll come up and strike into the jugular vein and carotid artery. Oftentimes when we practice this, like when Jared learned it, when I learned it, we learned it to actually strike our own hand, and that was to give us a target, a focal point. If you did it with somebody or in a real fight, you wouldn't actually be hitting your hand, you'd be hitting the neck. But we do practice sometimes with the hand out to give us a point of contact. Then I'm going to step around behind the opponent 45 degrees. I'm going to grab my own hand and I'm going to pull in and I'm going to choke out my opponent. Deep horse stance, I'm going to hold for about 3 seconds. Then I'll take my left foot, I'll do a cheat step, so I'll be moving out towards 6 o'clock. I'll turn into a hard bow now, and this is going to roll the guy over my hip. And he's going to fall right out in front of me, and what I'll have exposed to me is his back. It'll be pretty close, so it would mainly be his lower back. And that would be my next target. If I needed to hit again to stop this guy, I would stomp into his lumbar vertebrae, and I would cut off the signal from his brain down to his legs so that he has no locomotion, he can't stand up. So if Jared and I do this slowly, we'll move over here, give you guys a little bit of look. He throws a punch. We go to the outside, we come up to a cat, we step around behind him, we get a horse stance, got to get pretty low, got to get lower than my opponent, choke him out. I'll do a cheat step, and then the hard bow, he's going to roll over my leg. He'll fall about right here, and I have his lower back as the most opportune place to hit. What I'll do next is do a big crescent kick over his body to develop enough speed and power. And I'm going to stomp right into his lumbar spine. I don't want to do it to my son here because it would really do a lot of damage. After that, I'll cross step away from his weapons out toward 45 degrees. I'll move out cross step, and I'll move back into the fighting stance, and now I'm in a good opportune position to run, to get out of there, or to attack again. Cross step, and then back to a fighting stance. And that is the 5th one, that's the sleeper. If you can practice all of these, and you can get these names down, you know where you're hitting, you know the attack, you know what you're doing, you know the concepts, you can show it to your instructor when we get back from all of the sheltering in place. We can mark that in your manual as you being close to being ready for the first dawn. You'll know count of 3, because Jared did such a great job demonstrating, and you know the 5 techniques required. You just have to know the advancing kicks too, which are part of the first dawn test. So hopefully this has been helpful to Seth, our friend in Australia, and hopefully this will help a lot of you here locally who are working during the shelter in place to get toward being ready for your first dawn on your purple belt. Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate you coming to our home, letting us come to your home. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.